In this video, we will see how to use rigid bodies to make some nice animations. So let's go just with basic Suzanne's here. Okay, so let's say you have a monkey over there. And I will make a GZ just like that. And with Shift DZ a few times, I will just create a line of monkeys like this. I will just go with a plane over there, scale it up to receive the monkeys. So if I tell to Blender here into the physics that this one is a collision, not a collision, this one. It could be a collision, it will work as well, but the best in that case is to use rigid body and to put it as passive. It means that it's inside the rigid body world, but will not move and will not be affected by gravity. And if I tell to that one rigid body active and I make the same for all that ones, we will see that we have some shortcuts to make this more effectively. Okay, so I will just add just like that, very simply. Okay, again and again for that one. And now if I just play the animation, I will see all the little Suzannes that will fall down, okay, and will be affected by the gravity itself, okay? So it works well, no problem with that. But we have a few things to understand before starting make animations with that. So first of all, we can see that into these options, you have the mass here. So let's say, for example, here, if I tell that one, the one on top here, that it will be with far more mass, like let's say 100, for example. Okay, it will affect differently the simulation, and in the end, it will move all the others because it's more heavy. Okay, so it's important to understand this. You can manage the mass and see how it affects the simulation here. Okay, the second thing here is the convex hull. So what is the shape here? You can see that you have basically all these options that will transform a sphere around, that will put a sphere around Suzanne, or a box, or a capsule, or a cylinder, or a convex hull. What is a convex hull? Basically, a convex hull will be a kind of a shape like if you wrap some plastic film into it. Okay, so basically it will be this, and it will create a basic shape like this. It means that all the concave forms will not be affected by the simulation. A good example to show you that here, I will come back with a basic value here, is, for example, if I put a ball shape, like we would say that we want the Suzannes to fill a ball. Okay, so with this, I will just make a Shift D a few times, okay, to have more Suzannes. We know that they have the option, so when you duplicate one, they will keep the active over there. And let's say we will add a ball under that. So let's make a really simple ball shape with a UV sphere, scale it up into edit mode, okay, to have this kind of shape, then remove everything here. Okay, so I remove these vertices. Now I will just add a basic modifier, generate solidify, okay, that it will increase just like this to have a wall, okay, and apply that. It's important that the vertices, that the normals here has to be outside. If they are inside, it will not work properly, okay? So for example, here everything is outside because of the solidify modifier. But if, for example, I have only everything that is not well oriented, it will not work well, okay? So just to be sure to recalculate normals with this, with Shift N when you finish that, okay? But now, if by default I just go into the physics, enable the rigid body here, and tell it will be passive because I don't want the ball to fall down. If I keep the shape convex hull, you can see that they will fall into it. Because imagine if you wrap the ball with a plastic film, you will see that here you will have this film that will appear. So basically it's the best image I can give you to understand how it works. So if you use the real mesh, it will work well in that case, okay? And in that case, they will go inside and fill the ball, okay? So let's say we want more Suzannes, so we just go in front view, select all the Suzannes, and with Shift DZ, okay? Like we really want to fill the ball. So more you will have objects in your scene, and for sure, it might slow down a little the simulation, but in that case, it's still okay for my computer, as you can see. And after everything is filled, you can stop. And if you want to apply here the simulation, you can select all the Suzannes, okay? Go there until there, and with one selected at least, and you can go to Object, Rigid Body here, and apply transformations, okay? And now you can remove the rigid body here. So like for example, for remove this, you just have to remove the rigid body itself by clicking here. And then after you go to Object, Rigid Body, and remove everything. It's not possible because I did it before like that, but you can remove with this shortcut, okay? So basically, it's here that you will see, and now you can see that in the beginning of the frame, you can see that they are already there. And you just have to go there into Object, Rigid Body, Remove. And now everything is removed. So now you can see that you have basically, you can make it with a bowl of cereals or fruits or that you want to put inside the shape, so it can be useful in that case, okay? So this is the first thing that you have to understand. The second thing that you have to understand with this is that you can play with animated objects as well, okay? So for example, let's go with another basic scene. For example, here, you might take, let's go for another plane, okay? And you will have a cube, simple one. So this one will be a rigid body, passive, as we don't want it to move. And this one will be a rigid body active, okay? So I will just create a kind of basic shape with a few cubes like this, okay? With just over, but not inside, it's important. So I will duplicate this into the x-axis, okay, something like this, and keep a little space between the objects, okay? So now inside view, I will make the same with Shift DY to have this kind of shape. Good. Then I select all the cubes, and with Shift DZ, I will make the same. So basically what it will do now, if I play the animation, you can see that now it will make something like this. It will just fall down. But if I add another object here, like a big object or something really, really heavy, like a UV sphere over it, okay, with a rigid body that will go for 1000, okay, it might move everything like this, okay? Perfect. But if you want to play with an animated object, like for example, you will have another cube here in front view that will move from here, but with key animation, okay? That will move from here, with Y, I insert a key and go a little after until here with 140 and move it here into the other side and apply a key. So by default, it will make this simple animation, okay? So by default, it will go through it like that. If you just tell, okay, this object is like this, so I put a rigid body into it, it doesn't move, as you can see. You have to enable the animated option. Like these key animations will mix with dynamic settings here. And you can see that now it will make what we want. Okay? So this is important to understand as well. Okay? Here you have some other options like the surface response to add some friction or some bounciness if needed. You have the sensitivity, the collision margin. If you see, for example, this kind of behavior, like you launch your animation, your simulation, and everything is exploding everywhere, or it goes a little far, or with a strange behavior, just be sure that you have enough space between the objects, okay? Or increase or decrease this collision margin here, okay? So it can be important as well. So for example, here, we could make a chain, for example. Let's remove that one and put this in the beginning of the animation. And let's make a chain, a big chain over there. So for this, we will need a torus. And this will be the first link of the chain. Good. This torus will not move. This one will be a rigid body passive. It will stay over there. But the others, when I will duplicate this one with Shift D X here, I will put it as an active, and it's not a convex hull. It has to be the mesh because the object will not react well. So let's make RX 90 degrees, okay? Put enough space between the objects. Then we make Shift D X, RX 90 degrees again, and etc. with Shift D here, and even add more with Shift D again. Good, you will have this kind of shape easily. Good. So now if we play the animation, you can see that now you will have the chain that will affect the entire simulation, okay? And it can be, I went in edit mode, so it makes crazy things, but you can even, for example, tell that this one will be with a new shape like inside this object. So let's make a Shift S cursor to select it and add maybe a sphere like that, okay? And put it over there to make this kind of shape here. Good. To make the simulation work well now with this object, you have to recalculate the origin to the geometry. Like this, it will work better. And you can increase a little the mass, maybe put 10 kilos, okay? And as it's big here, maybe we can put this down a little bit. So let's see how it will react now. You can see that here we have the ball. Okay, it's not low enough. Put it near here. And let's see. The result works very well. So be careful. If you go too far with the mass here, for example, it might, for example, break the link. So it doesn't really break the link itself, but it goes through it if it's too high values. Like if I put 5,000 here, it might not, you see, yeah, it did break somewhere. So on top, it didn't resist. So be careful with their settings. 100 might be okay. Yes. And create more motion over there. Okay, so this kind of motion can be really interesting in case you want to add a chain or you want to put objects really easily on the surface or something like that. So it works pretty well. It can be for other tasks as well. For example, sometimes I make some 3D printing and I make a character, okay? And let's say I want to test if this character will stay on the earth, okay, without falling. if the modeling is well done, if the fits are big enough. So I can use this as well to test it if my figurine will be stable or not. Okay. So another example that I want to show you is something very simple, but can work very well for Christmas animation, for example. So let's play with that. We will just add new objects in the scene. So we will add a plane, okay, and this plane will receive the simulation, so it will be a rigid body passive, just like this. Now we will create a very simple gift box. So let's do that by adding a mesh. This mesh will be a cube for sure, and this cube we will modify it a little, but first of all let's call it gift box, and this is the ground. Good. So now we have our gift box. We want a real gift box. We don't want something a little poor like this. So what we will do, we will just duplicate this box. And this will be the gift box top. Okay, good. Maybe we can hide the ground for now, as we will focus more on the box itself. So what we will do, we'll just, on this one, make a Control R like this to have this kind of shape and remove these vertices. Okay, simple. Now, what we can do is make a little Alt S to make it grow a little, just a bit, just like that. Like this, it's over it. And in case you want, but it's not really necessary, but in that case, we can add maybe a little solidify to have something, to have a little thickness over there, just to have something like this. Good. So we just want simple shapes. Maybe in the end, we can add some bevel modifier or something, but just want simple shapes over there. Then we will make the same to duplicate again this one. And this one will be the ribbon. Ribbon in English? I think it's ribbon. Let's go like that. And this one will be another shape that we will model from this one. So let's make an Alt S like this. It's over everything. Just a bit like this. Good. And now we'll make the basic shape. So what we can do, we make a link like that. We make a loop like that with Control R, and with Control B, we make this kind of shape. Now with Control Y, we remove the other vertices, and we'll have a basic shape like this. Now we can make Shift D, RZ, 180. RZ, sorry, 90 degrees. Like this, we'll have this. A basic ribbon shape. Good. So we will just increase a little that shape with Alt S and add a modifier, generate, solidify. Just a simple one like this. Good. And maybe just very quickly, we could add, for example, some vertices here that we will duplicate, okay? And in front view, in side view, sorry for that one, we can make a kind of shape like this that will remind that we have a kind of little shape like that, okay? And I can make F here. So we have a basic shape like this, and we can add a modifier, generate subdivision surface into it. So this one might be the knot. So we can separate this and make the subdivision surface before this one. on the good object, not this one, it will look better. Okay, but before the solidify modifier, and it will look better. Okay, so like this, we can just even add a mirror modifier, just like this, into the Y here. So like this, we'll have a basic shape, just like this. Okay, so basically, we'll make a shade auto smooth, and basically we'll have the shape of our box. What I would like is to parent everything, all these objects, to this object. So I will make Control P and set parent to this object. Like this, I can have here a basic option that just by selecting the give box itself, all the other objects will follow. Okay? And like this, I can create some variations of shapes like this. So what you can do is just create very basic shaders with that. And what can be good as we will duplicate the object is to create some variations of the shader and some variations of the color. And in that really simple option, what we will do, we'll just create an HDRI, sorry. So I will go into my HDRIs, okay, create a world now just to have a basic shader over it, just like that, okay, and to can see a little what will happen. Maybe we'll choose another one that looks better. Okay, maybe that one. And in that case, we will just go there and enable the ray tracing. Like this, we have better reflections. Okay, good. So now what we can do, we can create our shaders. So we can go into the shading, and what we will do, we'll duplicate all these objects with two other objects, just like that. Like this, we will see the result. But first of all, let's add the materials and the shaders. Okay, so for that one, it will be the ribbon. So let's call it ribbon. Good. And this one, it will be the ribbon as well. This one, it will be the box. You can even create some variations for the box top and the box bottom, for example. But let's make just a simple, or let's make both. Okay, box top. Good, and box bottom. Or body. Good, so we have three shaders here. What we will do, we'll duplicate that and see the results because we want to have some randomness on these shaders. How to add some randomness? You have random values, I guess. And these random values are into the object info. So let's go there and search for object. We can see some object random here. And what is good with that, let's create a simple for the box body here with a basic color that we will add just by add an RGB, just like this, okay? And we will add another node here, and this node will be mix color, hue saturation value, okay? So if we add a basic color like that, so we can go to the blue, for example, okay? But if you play with the hue, you see that it changes the color, okay? So let's go with the random here, and you can see that now you will have different colors into that. And if I duplicate again with Shift D, you can see that I will have another color. So it's very easy to create simple variations like that with this system. Very simple, actually. So what we want is something with not that much roughness, some metalness, just like this, okay? And what we want as well is create some other variations for that. So maybe for this, we will make the same for the top, okay? To just have the same kind of settings, you just duplicate this system with, not with controls, with Shift D, sorry. just with Control C. Okay, you copy these 3 nodes, and then you just come to the next shader and make Control V. Like this, you have the same kind of settings, but with another color. Okay, and now you have other colors like this. And same for the ribbon. Let's go for it. Control V. And now I can put even another color over this, like this. The same for these ones. They will be with a little roughness, a little more metallic. The same for this. Okay, some metalness. And not that much roughness like this. Okay, now you will have this kind of boxes that looks already better. And what is good with this system is that when you have a box like this, you can just duplicate it and look, it will be another color. So very easy to make these multiple objects that we want to create, because we want to make some gift fall from the sky. So we want different shapes as well. So what we will do for that, we will just create some simple variations by just select this one, okay, in the end. And for this, we will just go there. So we will make some duplication, okay, duplication again, duplication again, duplication again, and duplication again. Maybe a few like that, okay. Might be 9 different shapes, okay. Maybe this one we will make an SY. Maybe this one a SZ. Maybe this one as Shift D. Maybe this one as X. Okay, and you will create new shapes very easily like this. Okay, so just with that, with the simple options, you will have different shapes. Good. So now you have your shapes just like this. What you can do now is tell that all the bodies, only the bodies here, will be affected by the simulation. So we'll go into the physics finally. Let's go with rigid body, okay? And let's put them active. So it will be a convex hull basic. And we will make the same for all these other objects. So to doing this very easily, you select all the objects, this one at last, and you go into the object, rigid body, and copy from active. Like this, everyone will have the same kind of options. Good. Now with that object selected, we can create big or not big objects. But first of all, let's scale down everything. And in front view, I will just put this like that. Okay. And then I just duplicate these ones. So let's make Shift D, maybe scale this down to have different variations. Okay. And Shift D and scale this up to have again different variations. Make a rotation maybe into the Z-axis like this. And again, you select everything and you make Shift D, Z, RZ, and you will have a nice effect. And like that, you will have a nice simulation here. So let's say you add a nice light and everything, or maybe a background like we did for creating a nice studio. And then after, you just play your animation and it will work perfectly. So I might increase a little that, put this here. It's a passive, so it should work pretty well. As you can see, all the gifts are going down and fall perfectly on the ground. So yeah, it's not that complicated to do. and you can see that you can have really great results. Over it, you can add some nice here motion blur, and it will look even better, as you can see. So yeah, that was another example on how to create a simple animation with that. I will make maybe a last duplication with all of them to have more. Like really, you have a lot of gifts for Christmas. You are really lucky. Okay, so all of this will work well perfectly. Good. Let's say you want to change a setting. Okay, so for example, you will tell that it's a little too heavy, and you want something with a mass that is less big. So let's go into the physics and tell 0.2, for example, to make it more light. And but you want all the others to be the same. So what you do, you just select all of them like this, okay? And what you can do now is with the one that you did change, so at last with 0.2, let's say it will be that one, you go into Object, Rigid Body, and Copy from Active. So now all the other objects will be effective the same way. So now you will create same animation, but with less big mass effect on it. Okay? So that's it for this kind of animation. You see that you can create really nice things easily with the rigid bodies. So don't hesitate to experiment with that. I would like to just show you other little options that you have here. You see that here you can create some fluids, some smoke as well. Honestly, smoke and fluids in Blender are not really well implemented in my opinion to create really realistic things. So I prefer to use other softwares to make this more realistically. You will have the possibility to create some dynamic paint, and this one is important and interesting, but it would be really too long to cover. But you can make an object paint into another object, so it would be good, for example, to create some steps on the ground when a character is walking on the ground. So you will add some painting into it, for example, like this. It can work like this. And you have other here modifiers into the physics sections here. You can see that one that we didn't see, and it's the one that I used to create, that I did use to create the screen here that I have. Okay. So it's that one that I did create the ocean with. And for this, it's quite simple. You just add to this one. I will just hide all of this by select with Control Y. I will just hide all of this. And in this, without the light, I can add modifier ocean. It will be physics ocean like this. And you can see that you will have directly something interesting. You can repeat it if needed to have something bigger like this, okay? So be careful if you have this kind of effect, it's in the view setting. You have here the possibility to increase the end, like for example, like this, okay? Like this, you see more what's happening. And you have the possibility to change the waves, for example, if you want to scale it up, to increase the sharpness or not. You see that you want something more like this, you can increase the velocity here, the alignment or not. So yeah, it can be really interesting in some cases to work with that. And you can generate foam as well, and this foam will be you can add a name here, and you can add this into your shader as well. It's same for the spray and things like that. So and it's animated, fully animated. So in that case here, you can see that if you go over there, into the baking option, you can bake the simulation and after play with this, okay, and it will give you a nice animation to work with. Okay, so this one can be interesting in some cases as well. I just wanted to show you that one. So we finished with the simulations. Now we will play with the armature. We did see how to make an animation with a simple character. Now I would like to show you how to create the armature itself. So this kind of skeleton that you put inside the character to deform it and to move it. So we will see how it works basically in the next videos.